The law of assumption teaches that your reality is not shaped by external circumstances, but by the assumptions you hold to be true within yourself. You may believe that events unfold randomly or that life happens to you, but this is a misunderstanding of how consciousness works. Your world is not a series of disconnected accidents. It is a mirror reflecting the state of your own inner beliefs. To assume something is to accept it without question, as already done. The moment you accept a new truth inwardly, you set the wheels of reality in motion. It is not a question of whether or not you will see it in the outer world. You must test, because the outer is always the servant of the inner. This is the essence of spiritual law. When this video appeared before you, it was not by chance. It is a direct reflection of a shift that has already taken place within you. You may not have recognized it consciously, but your deeper self has. You've begun to let go of doubt and step into the feeling of possibility. You've begun to imagine more boldly, to consider that what you desire is not only possible, it is already yours. The law of assumption does not require struggle or effort. It only requires belief. It asks you from the end to inhabit the mental and emotional space of your fulfilled desire. Once this is done, the outer world is compelled to reflect it. It cannot resist. You see, everything in your world is a shadow cast by your assumptions. People behave toward you as you assume they will. Opportunities show up when you assume they are already on their way. Even so-called delays or obstacles are shaped by the belief that struggle is necessary. But the moment you revise that belief, the moment you assume ease, grace, and inevitability, everything begins to reorganize. And here you are now, not because the video is telling you what to believe, but because you have already believed something that caused this video to appear. This is the incredible truth of assumption. You are not reacting to life, you are selecting it. You are the chooser, not the victim. Many people ask, how do I know if my assumption is working? And the answer is simple: the outer world will echo it. But before that, you will feel it. You will sense a shift in your emotional state. Things may not yet have changed on the surface, but inside, you will feel calm, confident, knowing that is the first fruit of a new assumption. Hold to it. Persist in it. Do not look for validation outside. Let the feeling within be your proof. Eventually, and often suddenly, the world will conform. You are never too late to assume something new. The past holds no power unless you assume it still matters. You are free to choose a new state at any moment. Choose the state of fulfillment. Assume that what you want wants you. Assume that your success is not far off, but already here. Speak from the place of completion. Walk as the person who already has it. This is not pretending. This is creation. Pretending is wishing. Assuming is as being. This is why the message found you. You have already begun to change your concept of self. You are stepping into the realization that you are not limited by conditions, circumstances, or even history. The only limitation is your assumption, and even that is yours to change. You don't need permission. You don't need to earn it. You simply need to assume it and live from it as though it were true. And when you do, reality has no choice but to align. So take this message not as advice, but as a signpost on a path you've already chosen. You are the operant power. What you assume with conviction must come to pass. The law is always working. The only question is, what are you assuming now? Choose wisely. You are about to win because you have already accepted the end. Imagination is not a passive faculty of the mind, reserved for children or artists. It is the most powerful creative force you possess. Everything you see in the external world was first imagined. The buildings, the technologies, the careers, the relationships, all began as invisible ideas, pictured and felt in the mind of someone who dared to believe in the unseen. Your imagination is not fiction. It is spiritual fact waiting to manifest in physical form. When you imagine something vividly and consistently with belief, you are laying the blueprint for it to appear in your world. If you find yourself watching this message, it's not because the video is pushing something onto you. It's because you have already imagined something greater for yourself, perhaps without even realizing it. The universe is responding to the vibrational tone of your inner imagery. You are being shown evidence of your own awakening. Your imagination, once dormant or scattered, is now focused. It is beginning to crystallize around a vision, a desire, a goal, a dream that feels possible, even inevitable. This is not just inspiration. It is creation in motion. You must understand, imagination is not simply daydreaming. When you deliberately enter a scene in your mind, when you see yourself already having, doing, or being what you desire, and you feel the reality of it, you are using imagination in its divine function. You are stepping into the creative space where reality is shaped. It doesn't matter what the facts say. It doesn't matter how impossible it seems. The world is always subject to the images you hold within. And when those inner images are backed by feeling, especially the feeling of "it is done," the world begins to shift. Most people live reactively, imagining only in response to what they see. But the teachings of truth invite you to imagine ahead of reality, to be a cause, not an effect. You do not wait for things to change. You assume they already have. And you do this in the workshop of your own mind, privately, silently, but powerfully. Over time, your outer life must reflect your inner persistence. It is law. When this video appeared before you, it was not a coincidence. It was an echo of your inner imagery. Somewhere, you saw something better. You imagined yourself free, successful, healed, or empowered. You entertained the idea that your circumstances were not fixed. That thought was creative. It planted a seed. And now this message arrives as a reflection of that seed taking root. Your imagination began to construct a new state of being, and now the world is beginning to comply. The great secret is this: the outer world has no choice. It must express what you impress upon your consciousness. The quality of your imagination determines the quality of your life. That is why it is sacred. That is why it is powerful. And that is why you must guard and guide it, not with effort, but with deliberate attention. Every time you imagine the wish fulfilled, every time you feel the outcome you desire already alive within you, you are bending reality toward it. Let go of needing evidence before you believe. Evidence follows, it does not lead. You are not to wait for things to happen. You are to make them happen within, and trust that the outer will take shape in perfect timing. If you felt inspired, if you felt pulled to change your life, it is because you have already begun to see it within. Now nurture that vision. Feed it with emotion. Rest in it. Walk in it. Speak from it. This message is not introducing something new. It is reminding you of something eternal. Your imagination is the portal through which the infinite becomes visible. What you dare to imagine and accept as real will form itself into experience. Begin now. Imagine as though you have already received. And so you shall. Signs follow, they do not precede. This simple yet profound principle overturns the way most people approach life. We are conditioned to wait for proof, to look for signs, to ask the world to show us that things are working before we allow ourselves to believe. But in truth, it is belief that comes first. It is assumption, inner conviction, and sustained imagination that gives birth to outer evidence. The world is a mirror, not a guide. It does not tell you what is possible. It shows you what you have already accepted as true within yourself. When this message found you, it was not sent ahead to persuade you. It was not the beginning of something. It was the result. The appearance of this very video is itself a sign, not of what is about to happen, but of what already happened inside you. You may have recently shifted your self-concept. You may have begun to assume your success, your freedom, your joy. You may have stopped hoping and started knowing. That shift, silent and internal, initiated a new movement in consciousness. The outer world, in turn, began to align. And now this message is one of its first echoes. Most people live in a backward order. They say, I will believe when I see. But truth operates the other way around. You will see it because you believe. This is not blind faith. It is creative knowing. You are not meant to react to the world around you, waiting for something to confirm your worth or your potential. You are meant to decide inwardly and persist mentally until the world reflects your decision. This is not arrogance. This is alignment with the truth that consciousness is the only reality. When you assume something, truly take it as done, your inner world changes. Your emotions begin to stabilize around that new idea. Your thoughts take on a new rhythm. And even if you see no evidence right away, you hold your assumption. Then, without force or manipulation, the world begins to respond. People speak differently. Opportunities arise. Circumstances bend. But these are not causes, they are effects. They follow your inner conviction like shadows follow the light. This is why you must stop looking outward for confirmation. Stop scanning your environment, wondering if things are working. The moment you do that, you're stepping out of your creative position and back into a reactive state. Instead, look inward. Ask, what am I assuming to be true? What do I believe about myself, about life, about what is possible? That belief is the seed, and the harvest will come. Not because you begged for it, but because you assumed it. Let the appearance of this message remind you of the order of creation. First, there is a feeling, a shift, a choice. Then there is a sign. If you are waiting for a sign to begin believing, you will always delay your power. But if you recognize that the desire, the vision, the inner change has already happened, you will see signs everywhere, and they will comfort you, not as reassurance, but as recognition. You will say, of course this came to me. I called it. I created it. Understand this deeply. Life is not random. The people you meet, the messages you hear, the doors that open, these are not accidents. They are reflections of your state of consciousness. And when your state shifts, your world must shift. This message is not your beginning. It is your mirror. It is the fruit of a seed you already planted. So stop asking, when will it happen? And begin to say, it is done. Stop looking for signs. Become the sign. Walk with the certainty of one who knows their assumption must outpicture itself. Trust the process, because the process is you. You are the origin point. The world is your reflection, and the signs will always follow. Your inner state is the magnet that draws all experiences into your life. You do not attract what you desire. You attract what you are in consciousness. Many people spend their lives trying to change the world around them, hoping that new circumstances will bring new feelings. But the truth is, your circumstances do not create your state. Your state creates your circumstances. The world is always responding to your dominant inner condition, your mood, your self-concept, your belief. If you feel successful, loved, free, even before you see evidence, the world must bring you the reflections of that state. It is law. It does not judge. It simply reflects. The mistake we often make is believing that change happens outside first. We think that when the job comes, then we'll feel secure. When the relationship arrives, then we'll feel loved. When the body transforms, then we'll feel confident. But all true change begins within. The world outside cannot give you what you have not already accepted inwardly. And even if it seems to, the effect will be temporary. Because your inner state will eventually override and dissolve anything that is not aligned with it. This is why the moment you shift internally, life begins to rearrange itself. You are the cause, and your state of being is your tool of creation. This is not something to fear, it is something to rejoice in. Because you are not at the mercy of random events or other people's decisions. You are the origin of everything that unfolds in your reality. The people, the opportunities, the timing, all of it flows to match the vibration you live in daily. If you dwell in lack, you'll see more situations that affirm scarcity. If you dwell in abundance, peace, and gratitude, your life will naturally reflect those qualities in concrete ways. This message came to you because your inner state is evolving. You have begun to see yourself differently. You've started to identify not with your past or your current conditions, but with your potential, with the version of yourself that already holds what you seek. That shift, however subtle, sends ripples through your consciousness, and the world, always obedient to inner command, begins to respond. The video you're watching right now is not an external call to awaken. It is an echo of your awakening. Your inner world is not invisible to the universe. It is the blueprint. When you maintain a state of confidence, gratitude, and expectancy, even in the absence of external proof, you become magnetic. People notice, events align, and what once seemed distant or impossible suddenly feels natural, even inevitable. This is not magic. It is the precise operation of law. Your state is not passive. It is the creative center of your life. So the question is not, how do I get what I want? But who am I being now? Because what you are being is what you are broadcasting. The world must mirror it back. You can't fake it. You can't hope your way into a new life while secretly feeling unworthy or doubtful. But when you begin to live from the feeling of the wish fulfilled, everything changes. You don't need to force outcomes. You simply dwell in the inner atmosphere of success, peace, or love, and the world comes to meet you there. This is why you must become more aware of your state. It is not about pretending or positive thinking. It's about shifting your center of identity, from lack to fulfillment, from waiting to having, from fear to faith. When you change your state, you change your world. There is no delay. The shift begins the moment you feel it real. This message found you because you're ready to let go of seeking and step into being. You are ready to own your state and watch your life transform to match it. And so it will. You are always creating, whether you realize it or not. Creation is not something that happens only when you sit down to focus, to visualize, or to speak affirmations. Creation is constant. It flows from your inner conversations, your assumptions, your reactions, your beliefs. Every thought you repeatedly dwell on, every emotion you entertain, every story you tell yourself about who you are and how life works, these are acts of creation. You are not waiting for life to happen to you. Life is happening through you, through the lens of your consciousness. Most people create unconsciously. They live in reaction to the world around them, accepting outer conditions as final and using them as the basis for how they feel. This is living by default, not by design. But whether you create consciously or unconsciously, the law is always active. Your dominant mental state becomes your reality, regardless of whether you are aware of it or not. This is why many people feel stuck or frustrated. They don't realize they are reinforcing unwanted realities with their inner attention. The moment you understand that creation begins within, you gain the power to shift everything. You move from victimhood to authorship. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And instead begin asking, what am I assuming? What am I giving life to through my attention? These questions place you at the center of your experience. They remind you that nothing in your world is random. Every experience is either the result of a conscious choice or an unconscious assumption. This message did not arrive to convince you of something new. It arrived because you are already beginning to create more consciously. You may not have known it in words, but something within you has shifted. Perhaps you've started to take your inner world more seriously. Maybe you've noticed the patterns in your thoughts, or begun to question the beliefs you've carried for years. These small shifts are powerful. They mark the beginning of a new relationship with your reality. They say, I am no longer asleep at the wheel. What you must realize is that your awareness is creative substance. It is not neutral. Where you place it, you give life. When you dwell on lack, you extend it. When you focus on possibility, you expand it. This is not just theory, this is spiritual law. You are never just observing your life. You are shaping it. Even your interpretation of what you see changes what happens next. This is how powerful you are. To create consciously is to take responsibility for your inner world. Not in a heavy, burdensome way, but with a deep sense of purpose and clarity. It means deciding who you are, how you wish to feel, what you choose to experience, and then aligning your inner speech, your imagination, and your expectations with that decision. It means knowing that you are never waiting for life to prove something to you. You are proving it to yourself with every assumption you hold. This message is evidence of your conscious creation. You drew it into your world, not by accident, but because your deeper self has declared something new. Perhaps you've begun to say, I am ready to live intentionally. I am ready to stop recycling the past. I am ready to create from a place of power, not fear. And life, ever obedient, responded, you are creating now. In this moment, you are choosing the direction of your life with the thoughts you allow, the feelings you nurture, and the stories you accept. Let this be your reminder. You do not have to wait. You do not need to fix anything outside of you. Your work is inner. And when the inner shifts, the outer must follow. That is the way of things. So choose with awareness, create with intention, speak with faith, assume the best. And when the signs appear, as they already are, know that they are simply the fruit of the seed you have already sown. You are not learning how to create. You are remembering that you always have. There is no power outside of you greater than the power within you. The world you experience, the people you encounter, the circumstances you face, All of it is a projection of your internal state of being. And while it may appear that external forces are controlling your destiny, the truth is that nothing and no one can shape your life unless you give them permission through your belief. You are the operant power. You are not a subject to fate or environment or heredity. You are the cause of your own experience, because your awareness of being determines what you encounter. Many people live in a state of quiet helplessness. They look to others for validation, to institutions for support, to circumstances for permission to feel secure, loved, or successful. But this is the reversal of truth. The outer world cannot give you anything you have not first claimed within. Your self-concept is the root from which all experience grows. If you do not assume yourself to be the version of you who is already successful, already chosen, already free, then the world cannot reflect those states back to you. And when you do claim those things within, without needing proof, the world has no choice but to mirror them. This is not personal opinion. This is law. The moment you internalize the truth that there is no power outside of you, fear begins to dissolve. You stop seeing people as obstacles. You stop giving your energy away to delay doubt or limitation. You stop negotiating with appearances because you recognize that all appearances are malleable. They are not permanent. They are not in charge. They are the echo, not the voice. They are the result, not the cause. And the cause is within you. It is your assumption, your imagination, your sustained inner dialogue. You may have grown up hearing that life happens to you, that you must wait your turn or earn your worth. But you were misinformed. Life responds to you, not by what you say once, not by what you wish for, but by what you accept as true in your heart and mind. This message didn't find you to inspire a new belief. It found you because you already began to suspect the truth. You already sensed that your thoughts have power, that your feelings are more than reactions. They are instructions to the universe. You are now being invited to stop looking for power elsewhere. Not in timing, not in someone else's approval, not in the perfect plan or process. The power you seek is the power you are. You have the ability to select the state you wish to dwell in. And whatever state you occupy dominantly will clothe itself in facts. You are not at the mercy of odds or logic or statistics. You are only bound by what you consent to believe. The world may tell you otherwise. It may show you facts that contradict your inner desire. But your task is not to fight the facts. It is to transcend them. You do this by refusing to surrender your power to anything outside of you. By assuming the truth of your desired states as now. Even when no outer proof exists, the very act of assumption is the act of creation. It is a divine claim, backed by the force of consciousness itself. And consciousness is always fulfilled. This message arrived not as a whisper from the world, but as a confirmation of your inner voice. You are remembering who you are. You are no longer waiting for a sign that you are powerful. You are beginning to walk in that power. You are releasing blame, comparison, and passivity. And in doing so, you are aligning with the truth that has always been yours. You are the operant power. There is no power outside of you. Nothing can stop the unfolding of your assumption, unless you decide it can. That decision is yours, and now you choose differently.